deck, the link is in the description below.
Hello and welcome back to the Apex Online Racing Hype Energy F1 League on the Xbox platform. We're back for the 6th round again after some technical issues last week which prevented the race from proceeding. It's the Monaco Grand Prix, of course. My name is Justin Sutton and joining me today, it's Jess.
Good evening, everybody. First time I've been in the commentary box since the AOR esports tournament, so bit of a deja vu moment, but great to be back and also great to commentate alongside you because I don't think I've commentated with you before.
Nope, yeah, this is definitely a first, and I'm looking forward to it, especially after last week's issues. I'm very happy to have a co-commentator and to not be having to do the cameras and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, really looking forward to that. We've already got cars out on track. They're all, for the most part, doing their first timed runs at the moment. We did lose connection to CRG more so just a couple of minutes ago, so hopefully he's going to be able to get back in pretty quickly because, of course, he is third in the standings at the moment, one of only 3 people that has scored points in every single race so far this season. So we're hoping he can get back in pretty soon here.
Yeah, I hope so too, because we've got the likes of Leopard are also in championship contender as well. So if you lose connection so early on in the session, that may definitely haunt you as the session goes on, because you'll have less chance to get a lap in. So hopefully he gets in.
Yeah, Simon going quickest of all at the moment. He's only a tenth and a bit quicker than Valache Surprise at the moment. Now, last week we did get to see the qualifying session. We didn't get to see the entire race. I think it was about lap 13 when we finally lost connection to everybody. But we did see in qualifying, Simon was quickest by about 0.2 of a second. So at the moment, he doesn't have much of a gap, but you know, things could change. Of course, the rest of the drivers and Simon as well all have the benefit of having an extra week's worth of practice. I'm not sure how many people may have actually taken advantage of that extra week of practice, but we'll find out pretty soon just what it's going to look like. But I believe it was Surprise that joined him on the front row. And then in the race, the 2 Mercedes cars of Pinecone and Joe made the undercut. They got ahead of Simon, and it was looking like a pretty interesting race was in store for us. But then again, we had those connection problems. So 13 and a half minutes, or just under 13 and a half minutes still to go in this qualifying session, 10 times on the board, and amazingly 17 drivers here for today's race. I expected a smaller number than that, I'm not lying.
Yeah, because a lot of people were taking a week off, I believe, and because they were planning, because obviously it's a break week, that's why no other tiers are streaming today, and luckily Morso's joined back. That's good news. Woo! So yeah, I'm pretty shocked as well, and that's great to see. Great to see the commitment. And Monaco is a prestigious track anyway. They all want to win Monaco. One of the tracks they want to win is their home Grand Prix and this track. So, and I think one of the advantages of having a rerun is they can look back on their mistakes and say, hey, what have I done wrong in qualifying? What have I done wrong in the first part of the race? And they can improve on that. So hopefully they use that extra week's practice to build on that, as Alpha Bar has just gone 9th fastest.
Yep, exactly right. Yeah, we might see that indeed. And I assume we're going to be seeing more so coming out pretty quickly. A lot of the guys are back into the pits and fitting a new set of tires. It looks like actually some of them are already heading back out. LCR Mulder is only 10th at the moment with that 109.9. He's back out for an outlap already. Alper Ball is out there. Snazzy Evening is still out there as well. Everybody is on the soft compound tires, or everybody has set their times on the soft compound tires anyway. More so the only one that's still fitting the hards at the moment, but I expect, again, I would expect him to be coming out fairly soon here. So, but yeah, the drivers are coming out now, getting ready to do their second laps. It is still pretty close. The top three separated less than 2/10 of a second, and then a pretty sizable gap down to Snazzy Evening and WOR Verstappen. Those two separated by less than a tenth. A very tiny gap down to Leopard, P1R Brown, Jason. In fact, really from fourth all the way down to eighth, very, very close. Less than 2/10 of a second between all of those guys. So still 5 times yet to go up on the board. More so Bobber to Martin, John Papp, and Pinecone all yet to set a time. But all of them are heading out now, and indeed Morso is heading out. I've been specifically keeping my eye on Morso because, again, he is currently sitting in third in the championship standings. He's only 6 points ahead of Pinecone, though, and Pinecone has only attended 3 out of the 5 races, whereas Morso has been there for all 5 of them. So Pinecone is really on a charge in the last 3 races, and based on last week, I think he's going to be looking to continue that charge here at Monaco.
Yes, he is. The last few finishes he has had with Azerbaijan, he got P2, and so did Spain as well. And it was such a shame that the stream had to be cut short due to the issues. And track position is key around Monaco, I must say, because it's very narrow, very hard to overtake. And we have seen in real life Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen having a great battle, and Lewis Hamilton was able to get those mediums to the end, so and he was able to hold Max Verstappen. So and Pinecone is usually good with those sort of moves, so definitely someone to watch out for.
Yeah, Pinecone's a bit of a rising star. It's not his first season. It's not. I think it's actually his 3rd season in AOR. Of course, we run 2 seasons per year, so it's his 2nd year, I believe, in AOR. But he's one of those guys that really just kind of came in and made a name for himself straight away. I mean, he wasn't immediately winning races, but the way that he's improved, especially for being how young he is, I don't know how old he is these days, but I do know that he was too young to take part in the F1 esports, at least for the most recent years. I assume he was too young, otherwise we would have seen him in this year's F1 esports as well too. Yep, yeah. So I mean, he's a young guy, and he's so quick, and he's so mature in the way that he handles his driving and all that kind of stuff. His surprise now goes quickest of all, about 1.5 tenths up on CRG Simon's time. Let's see, has Simon actually set a 2nd lap time? It says he's already done a lap on this set of tires, so maybe that got invalidated, or I'm not entirely sure. But it is surprise that sits at the top of the timing tables at the moment, but still lots of time still to go in this session. So Simon could pull it out of the bag. I'm actually having a look at Simon at the moment. It does appear that he is on a quick lap. He's in the high ERS deployment mode as he makes his way out of the tunnel and down into the Nouvelle chicane. It hasn't looked like the best of laps. He's not low on fuel either, though, so I think he is going to be continuing on this one. But of course, if he did already do a lap on this set of tires, he's not going to be looking for this to be his fastest time, so he might back off a little bit. Yellow flag in Sector 3. It's just a car getting out of the way very nicely for Simon. We do appreciate when drivers are aware of their surroundings and the cars around them and getting nicely out of the way. Not the best of exits out of the final corner as he powers down the straight. What is the time going to be? It is a minor improvement. He gets within 1/10 of Velace Surprise, but again, he did set 2 laps on that set of soft tires, so he's definitely going to be looking to make an improvement on his final run.
Even though the softs do last a bit longer than the other tracks, if you do go out in qualifying out longer than 2 or 3 laps on the same soft tyre, then you're probably going to be in the same situation for people on the medium tyres as well. So Simon really got to hope that he's got more soft tyres to hand and have a quick lap set in that, because otherwise he's going to have a disadvantage in the race where he's going to have cars which are on fresher tyres than him, and he's probably going to have to pit way earlier.
You know, I did also miss a very quick lap time from Jason97F1. I have to give a shout out to Jason putting in that 108.5. He's the only one to really get within a couple of tenths of the top 4 guys, and he's not usually a one-lap specialist, as longtime viewers of the Xbox One F1 League will know. Jason's more of a race pace kind of guy. You know, usually qualifies just outside the top 10. I would say he's like a 6th row starter. Thereabouts, goes for an alternate strategy, makes up positions in the race, and scores very well. He has missed a race this season. Yeah, he missed the last race actually in Spain. But so far he's finished in 7th, 6th, 8th, and 8th with 23 points on the board at the moment for Jason 97 F1. But that is, that's a quick lap time by anybody's standards. But again, Jason's not usually a one lap specialist.
No, he's not. But the thing is, the key about Jason is he's consistent, and that is the key on this lead to get a good position in the championship. I can't remember where he finished last season in the championship, but he's scored quite well to stay in the top 10 and potentially get fastest laps as well, which is in fact even key in this season as well. So for him, really, I'm sure he can score higher up there, and if he keeps this up, he could be on for a very good finish in today's race if all goes well. So hoping good things for Jason if I don't jinx anything.
Yeah, hopefully we're not commentator cursing him. OMG, it's Joe, I think, is on a hot lap at the moment. If you want to have a switch over to him, he's currently 4th in qualifying at the moment with a 108.328. He's about half a tenth off of what Tyrrell Martin has been able to manage so far. The top 3 all on an out lap right now. OMG, it's Joe on a hot lap, though. He's putting in a time lap at the moment. Seeing lots of yellow flags coming out again. That is very likely to be just drivers getting out of the way of each other. It is, of course, a very, very short circuit, and it's very difficult to stay out of the way of people. So that's probably why we're seeing all these yellow flags as cars are coming to a complete stop. And Joe, I believe, has completely abandoned this lap, and I think he's going to be coming back in. No, he's not, actually. He's going to be going on and setting another lap. Less than 6 minutes to go in this session. It is, of course, a short lap, though. Within the next 2.5 minutes or so, he could be back around and into the pits and back out again. So I don't think he's hurting himself too much by going out there and setting one more lap, but it is still Velace Surprise who is at the top of the timing tables. He's out on the hot lap at the moment as well. Yeah, he's just making his way through the Grand Hotel hairpin, the slowest corner on the calendar. And it is, again, less than a tenth of a second down to CRG Simon and then Tyrrell Martin in 3rd. So both Alfa Romeos in the top 3 at the moment, so it's looking quite good for them. Still 2 times yet to come onto the board. That is Bobberts and Pinecone. Looks like Pinecone's already done a lap on this set of tires, but doesn't have a time on the board, so I'm assuming he's made a whoopsie somewhere and invalidated that lap.
Quite common to see a lot of cars invalidate their laps in Monaco, as I've experienced when I was I've been racing in Monaco recently, and I've invalidated quite a lot. So not surprised, but he does have time to get on the board, as I think Surprise is coming across the line now. Is he going to improve? Yes, he does. 107.9 for him. First person to go into the 107s, I believe. So that is a pretty decent lap from him. Pretty quick from him, as he's one of the fastest guys in the game. And obviously he was in esports last year, but unfortunately he had to drop out. But he's back again in the Challenger Series, and he's making a name for himself. And I'm sure he's making good practice for this to set his true pace, because I've watched him in the past, and he's brilliant. So high hopes for him again as well, as I think he's going to go into the pits as well. I'm seeing who else is on a lap. John, I think, he's going into the pits as well. So everyone's going into the pits to get their last tyres in, and hopefully we can see some quicker lap times.
Yeah, Snazzy Evening, it looks like, is on a quick one at the moment. He's one of the guys that we've had a little bit higher expectations. Didn't have the greatest of starts to the season with a DNF in Australia and only a single championship point in Bahrain, but he's done a little bit better. A 5th in China, a 6th in Baku, and a 7th in Spain. So still not quite where we expect him, though, because Snazzy Evening is, of course, a name that we know from the F1 Esports. Oh, as he just makes a bit of contact with the barrier coming out of the swimming pool section through that chicane, and I don't know if that's going to invalidate his lap. Yep, he's going to be diving straight back into the pits. Just over 3 minutes still to go in this session, so he does have enough time to get into his box, fit a new set of tires, and head back out there for one final attempt. He's only 8th at the moment behind the season 16 Monaco race winner of P1R Brown, who's sitting in 7th position with a 108.6. And yeah, the times are getting a lot closer after those initial runs where we saw kind of a gap from the top 3 down to the rest of the field. It is definitely starting to tighten up there.
Yeah, I wonder if they're getting their Mercedes party mode engine on at the moment. They're just saving their true pace to the end, so some guys don't have a chance to respond, which I think that's what some people will be doing, in particular our championship contenders as well. Quite surprised Leopard is still in 6th place at the moment, but I'm sure we could find some... I'm sure he has some strength in there to get up his pace a little bit to try and catch up to Velace Surprise. I can't remember what the lap time he set last week before the chaos happened, but I'm sure he did a 107 there as well. So I think it's going to be very tough to beat, but it's going to be very close anyway in between the top two. So watch out to see if anyone can beat Simon as well. ApexOnline only one on the flyer at the moment as he just goes to the start of sector 3. But everyone else going out there now, luckily just in plenty of time, so everyone should get their laps in pretty cleanly.
Yep. Just under 2 minutes to go. So yeah, everybody who's out on track has plenty of time. And in fact, the guys that are still into the pits, they should be able to get back out there. Again, it's a very, very short lap. Takes, even if you're warming up your tires, less than 80 seconds or so to get around. Alperball goes up into 9th position with that time, a 108.7, just 1/1000th of a second slower than Snazzy Evening in 8th position. But that's probably going to be his last lap. Yeah, he's moving over to the side to let Veloce surprise through, and Franglish and Verstappen, number of cars coming through there is all, just it's getting really busy out there. He's getting nicely out of the way there, actually. As was Leopard on a hot lap there? No, he's on an out lap. Okay, I wasn't sure about that one, but maybe we can go on board with Simon. It says he's not on an out lap, and indeed Alperball has indeed retired from the session, so he's not going to be doing any better than 9th position at the moment. He is one of only 3 drivers that is yet to score so far in this season, but we did see quite a number of retirements in only the 13 laps that we had last week of the Monaco Grand Prix. So certainly it is very possible that this could be an opportunity for him to score some pretty decent points if there are going to be a serious number of retirements. Bobberton, Pinecone, again, the only ones that have yet to set a time so far in this session. Less than 1 minute still to go. Simon is really flying through he's really wrestling this car through Sector 3 into Rascasse. He's got Leopard, but Leopard gets very nicely out of the way. Again, I'm seeing everyone I've seen has gotten very nicely out of the way of the fast cars behind, so that's great to see. Simon comes down to the line. It is going to be a 107.923, 13,000 slower than Surprise, and actually Surprise is on a hot lap now too.
Yep, and I think Simon is going again, but he doesn't have any ERS to play with, so maybe that is his qualifying lap done. So I think it's going to be all on Veloce, Surprise now, and possibly the guys behind as well. We haven't seen what Leopard can do either. Leopard is about to go on the flyer. So really we need to watch out for these top 6 drivers, see if they can go close to Surprise. Joe as well Joe is not on the flyer, so I don't think he's going to improve unless he can get the checker flag has fallen, so everyone that has just started a lap is allowed to finish, as a few guys have retired. And there's a few people in the runoff area there. There's Martin there, so I don't think Martin's going to... Yep, he's retired there. So he's not going to set a lap time. So I think all rests on Simon, Leopard and Snazzy Evening, I think.
I think you're right about that. Snazzy Evening does shoot up into 3rd position with that lap at 108.188. That's still almost 0.3 of a second slower than Surprise, which I think more highlights the speed from Surprise rather than anything else. OMG, it's Joe, has indeed retired from the session. Let's see, LCR Leopard is not going to be completing that lap. WR Verstappen is also stationary. He's not going to be doing any better. Yeah, more so in the Renault, down in 15th position on the medium compound tires. He's going for something a little bit different, which isn't this isn't the first time we've seen more so go for something different, and it has been successful for him in the past. As he powers down the start-finish straight, it is going to be good enough for 14th position, so he'll start just behind Pinecone, who I have to say probably is going to be disappointed with that 13th position. So it is Surprise that takes pole position this time. It was CRG Simon last week, but Surprise takes pole position this time. I did see a tweet from Simon. I don't know if you saw this, Jess, but I think he said this is actually going to be his last race on the Xbox platform because, of course, he did get picked up for the F1 esports. He got signed to the Renault F1 team, and I think he is going to be focusing on the PC now.
Yes, I did see that, and I think quite a few people in the past, I think we've seen Brendan Lee as well make the move to PC, because he was an Xbox guy. We all know him from Xbox, and now he was luckily he actually won the PC Championship, I believe, 1 year. So maybe Simon could take that leap of faith and try and get a few points here and there in the PC. So wish him the best of luck for that, but he's going to be missed in the Xbox platform. So hopefully he can get a good result here tonight.
Yeah, well, it would be good for him to go out on a high. He'll be starting from just behind Surprise on the front row of the grid. Then comes Snazzy Evening ahead of TRO Martin. Again, a very good lap from the Haas driver. OMG, it's Joe and Jason 97 F1 on the third row of the grid. Then it's LCR Leopard down in 7th position. Not ideal for the Red Bull driver, but still the race is where the points come from. So he will have the opportunity to move himself up. Again, Leopard is another one of the 3 drivers that has scored points at every single race this season. And in fact, Leopard is the only other driver other than Surprise to have actually won a race. So
wow.
it's been going pretty good for him. He hasn't finished off the podium. It's been a fantastic season for Leopard. He's only 9 points behind Surprise in the championship.
I've seen Leopard in other leagues as well, where he's been absolutely dominating, whereas in AOR, not as much. But it's nice to see his true form in AOR this season, I think. It's just great to see him up there. Last season, the only people that won at the start of the season was Surprise and Evo. And then Simon and Joe spoiled the party in Britain and Germany. And I think there was another race beforehand as well. So it just goes to show how high caliber these drivers are. But who knows? We may see someone different take the win. Maybe Simon could pull off his last win in Xbox One tonight, but we'll see. And it looks like to be very dry, which I think for me and you, Justin, I think we're going to be quite relieved.
Yeah, I imagine the drivers as well too. Well, maybe there's some drivers at the back who were hoping for a bit of precipitation to aid them in their quest to try and pick up some points. But yeah, glad to see that it's nice clear skies for the 39 laps of the Monaco Grand Prix that we have ahead of us today. Veloce Surprise again on that pole position. P1R Brown starting from 8th, since I didn't finish the qualifying results. I'll go through that. P1R Brown in 8th, followed by the other Williams of Alper Ball, LCR Mulder starting from just inside the top 10. Then into OR Verstappen, AOR Franglish, Pinecone Morso, Bobberts, John Papp, and ESR Amazed bringing up the rear in the Red Bull. So that is the way these guys are going to be lining up for today's race. Again, this is round 6 of the Apex Online Racing Hype Energy F1 League on the Xbox platform. And no, don't adjust your TVs or computers or cell phones or whatever you might be on. This is the rerun of the race that we were trying to do last week, when unfortunately we had some problems with the Xbox platform, which caused every single driver, including myself, to also get disconnected. So we are rerunning this race, and no points were given out for last week's. We reran the qualifying as well too, just for anybody that didn't make it last week who could make it this week, and so on and so forth. So this is a complete start over from the very beginning, and this time it is Surprise that starts ahead of Simon. That's the big news here today.
And like I said earlier, it is a chance for people to overcome their mistakes and try and improve on it. So hopefully we will see that as the race goes on as well. In terms of strategy today, most people from the soft compounder tyres will possibly try and do the soft to hard strategy, is probably what most people are going to go on for. But the mediums and hards, they're probably going to have an interesting time of what strategy to go on for. If they can go on a long time on the mediums, they may try and do a two-stop, or they might try mediums to hards. That's what I like about Monaco. Anything can happen in terms of the strategy here, but I think it's mostly going to be a one-stop, as tyre deg is not as crucial here.
Exactly right. And everybody in the top 10 on the soft compound tires, everybody outside the top 10, either on the medium or the hard compound tires, as we go to 5 lights here in Monaco, and they're out very quickly, and we're racing. Are we going to see any overtakes? It looks like TRL Martin actually pressuring for 3rd position around the outside on Snazzy Evening. They are going to be side by side actually, and it looks like Martin's got the exit that he needs out of Sand Boat. He's got that speed climbing up the hill, and he takes 3rd position off of Snazzy Evening. OMG, it's Joe applying some pressure as well too. Jason 97 F1 maintaining his spot. So it's looking, a very late break for LCR Leopard. Unbelievable. Moves himself up into 6th position. Wow. That was incredible on Jason 97 F1. Wow. I really didn't see that coming into Mirabeau. Really did not expect to see an overtake there. I was actually on board with Jason 97 F1, not on the off-board cameras at the time when it happened. And Leopard, just with the dive bomb, he seemed so confident on the brakes, already gaining positions. He's already up into 6th. But yeah, TRL Martin also making moves at the start, moving himself up into 3rd position. So a nice, clean start, I think. Actually, I haven't seen all of the back markers and everything, but it's seeming pretty good at the moment from what I've seen anyway.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised, because usually in the first lap it goes to absolute chaos. I'm guessing they're being a bit more cautious this time around to avoid the trouble from last week. But we do have Verstappen. We spoke too soon, Justin. Verstappen has binned it. I think towards sector 3, I think it was, the final few corners. So I think that was just a spin though, nothing too major. But apart from that, no front wing changes, which is really surprising. But another person that's made Alpha Bell's out.
Huh. I unfortunately didn't see what happened there to Alpha Ball. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. Verstappen does have all of his front wings, so he doesn't have any sort of damage to contend with. He is quite a ways off the back. He's already 3 seconds adrift of John Papp in 15th position, so he's not going to be happy about that start. But thankfully for him, he is going to be going deep into the race, and there's still many laps still to go here in Monaco, so he's got plenty of opportunities. Up at the front, though, Surprise is already starting to build that gap. It looked like he almost got it to 1 second. Oh, virtual safety car. Virtual safety car has been deployed, I presume because of Alper Ball. Yeah, Verstappen's moving and everything like that. So it seems that Alper Ball has triggered the VSC. And that's really not going to do much to this race, to be honest, though.
No.
I mean, I guess it'll make the tires last a little longer.
Interesting enough, Snaz Evening and OMG It's Joe, pretty much those 4 people in the pits. So did they have an issue, or are they going to hope the virtual safety car comes out at the right time? It could work out well for them, because it still hasn't come out. So, well, it still hasn't come in yet. So that has worked out very well for them. It's just ended. Oh, as a Mercedes, OMG It's Joe just almost got past Verstappen there. But gamble for some of these guys, but they don't have to pit for a bit while. But that is very intriguing. I thought they would have stayed out, because the virtual safety car, again, doesn't last very long around on this game. So, yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, and the softs aren't exactly slow at the moment. The softs are going to be holding up pretty well after only 2 laps, really only 1.5 laps of actual racing. So I'm not sure if they're going to be able to get the undercut on too many people, but that could be what they're going for. Certainly, that's what Mercedes did. Both Mercedes cars of Pinecone and OMG It's Joe. That's what they did last week. Was they undercut Simon and Surprise, and they took the lead. They were 1 and 2 at the time when we had the server issues. And it was looking like they were certainly going to be able to hold on to that position. So maybe that's what the likes of Snazzy Evening, OMG It's Joe, all those guys are hoping for, just to grab track position. Because, of course, you do lose less time during a pit stop under VSC conditions, as Leopard now sets the fastest lap of the race, currently in 4th position. Bobberts becomes the next to come into the pits, probably, I would assume, because of some sort... Yeah, for a front wing change. Not surprised about that one, to be honest. So yeah, he's gonna be not thrilled about that, but he should be able to get to the end on that set of tires. Speaking of which, have they all gone onto the hards? No, actually, Verstappen went onto the mediums. No, he didn't pit. He's still on the mediums. That's what it is. Verstappen is still on the mediums. He wasn't among the pit stoppers.
No, he just had a spin. He didn't have any front wing damage at all. He just had a spin, and he kept going. Everyone else that's pitted has had either front wing damage or trying to make that undercut work, which is especially for the top guys anyway. So I think Verstappen was hoping he was going to have a much better race than he did, but he has time to claw back, and he will have to see how he can get his mediums a bit longer than he would, but he may have to pit earlier, I think, due to that spin, because I think that might have put a lot of pressure onto his tyres, I must say. But meanwhile, we're seeing a train of cars from, I think, Pinecone all the way down to Franglish having a battle for 6th place, I believe.
Yeah, Franglish was getting very close to the back of ESR Amaze. Amaze picking up a 3-second time penalty already as well, actually, on only the 4th lap of this race. That was at the Nouvelle Chicane where he picked that up. And it looks like Amaze getting a good run on Pinecone here. He is on the softer compound tires compared to the Mercedes ahead of him of Pinecone. We actually only have 5 soft tire runners still remaining in this race. Everybody else either started on the hards or mediums or has now switched to the hards for the remainder of the race. So the top 5 are the only ones still running the soft compound tires. Surprise building an almost 2-second gap down to Simon as Tyrrell Martin becomes the next to pick up a 3-second time penalty. And that's another thing that we saw last week. We saw quite a number of 3-second time penalties for corner cutting and not track extending really so much at Monaco, but corner cutting. So yeah, we're already starting to see those penalties coming in on the board, and even among the front runners as well. Amaze actually clunks the barrier at the outside at the exit of Tebek, and I'm sure Franglish would have seen that in the McLaren, as there's a yellow flag out in sector 3. I'm
probably
not sure
Snazzy
who.
Evening. I don't know
if
he dropped. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one yet, but Verstappen did manage to make the overtake. Again, that's another tire compound difference. Again, Verstappen being on the medium, Snazzy Evening being on the hards, and that's why I think Franglish. Franglish is so eager to get. Oh no!
My God!
What is going on here? And OMG, it's Joe has gotten caught up in that. I'm not sure what's happened between Amazed and Franglish there, but it certainly seems something has gone on. I mean, Amazed is just clunking against the barriers quite a bit. I'm wondering if he has some sort of technical issue maybe, or something like that, because he is going very slowly.
I don't know. If he's had a technical issue like that, he may have had a braking issue in his pedals maybe, but because I thought he would have moved out the way if there was any more issues, but everyone's since started to climb into each other. So I think that is going to change things quite a bit, I must say. I think more people have to go into the pits then. I didn't see what caused Amaze to do that. If it was a brake issue, or if it was his own fault, or maybe there was a battle into turn 2 that didn't go well, but we'll never know unless we see the POV from the drivers, as Amaze has had another trip to the wall, so that's going to be a long trip to the pits for him.
Yeah, it started from last position, if I remember correctly, so Amazed is going to be dropping right back down. Well, he'll still be ahead of Alper Ball, as we've only got the one retirement so far in this race, but I'm having a look at Verstappen at the moment, who is definitely seeming quicker than... Oh, as we've lost SSR Bobberts now as well. I'm not sure where that's gone on. Let me see if I can go on board with John Papp. Oh, okay, yeah, John Papp's already into Sector 1 already, so... unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see what happened there. But yeah, WR Verstappen with those softer medium compound tires is seeming very aggressive on the back of OMG. It's Joe, despite Joe being on what were a brand new set of hard compound tires early in the race. 3 second time penalty there now for Amaze, another one. And there he goes, Verstappen. He's later on the brakes. He's going to have to cut the corner, but he's not going to take the position off of OMG. It's Joe. I'd say that was hard but fair between the two of them. And I think Verstappen really, took to the corner cut there just to avoid Snazzy Evening making the overtake, because, of course, the Haas is right behind him. Not to mention Jason97F1 right there with them, and P1R Brown.
Yes, all of them very close, all fine full position, and it's going to be a while before these guys go into the pits as well. So Verstappen is really looking racing, so it's Snazzy Evening as well. Maybe Jason97F1 could join the fight as well. Let's just hope that there's no any carbon fibre join there. It's Snazzy Evening almost trying to make a move past WOR Verstappen, but this time he had to back out a little bit there. But oh, that's a little bit brave trying to make a move around there, but I'm guessing he's very committed to do it and he wants to get the position.
Yeah, I think showing your nose up the inside into Massene is a great way to probably lose your nose, to be honest. So I'm surprised Snazzy Evening was even attempting that, but he did think better of it, kind of backed out of it. Again, Verstappen does seem to be the faster one out of all of these guys, considering he is on the softer compound tires. Not all that surprising, as we have our leaders into the pits. Surprise and Simon are both into the pits. TRL Martin looks like he's going to continue on. Verstappen now becomes the next to pick up a 3 second time penalty, so that's not ideal for the Racing Point driver. It is going to be a set of medium compound tires for both Surprise and Simon as they make their way out of the pits now. Let's see where they're going to feed out relative excuse me, to the rest of the cars around him. Oh, that's very, very close with the Mercedes of Pinecone. He's going to just about manage to get ahead of the Renault of Simon, and now more so as Simon's picked up a 5 second penalty for corner cutting. I think that was at the exit.
Second as well.
Oh, wow. That is 8 seconds worth of penalties within about 8 seconds of driving. That is not ideal for CRG Simon, who was doing so well last weekend, and it really seems to be falling apart for him. Again, he may not have been putting in tons of practice, since again he has said that this is going to be his final Xbox F1 League race as he makes the switch over to PC, which I'm not surprised about. I'm not surprised to see Xbox guys, and anytime an Xbox guy switches over to the PC side, it is because they're focusing on F1 esports, because of course that is the platform that F1 esports is run on. Oh, up the inside for CRG Simon into the Nouvelle Chicane on CRG Pinecone. He does manage to make it work. And I have to say, as we've lost John Papp and ESR Amaze now as well, too. We're now down to just 13 runners on lap 9. But Pinecone really playing that very safely there, I think, and just kind of letting Simon through as Martin does come into the pits just the following lap. So let's see where the Alfa Romeo is gonna come out relative to his teammate and the Renault of Simon. It looks like Simon has already made his way through. Is more so going to get ahead? Yes, he is. Whereas Pinecone? Pinecone's been into the pits. And I believe Martin is going to come out. Yep, he's ahead of more so. Oh, as ESR Amaze's car is still going around the circuit. That's not ideal.
Oh, and he's retired on my screen, so that is intriguing.
Same.
So I'm guessing he's taking a long time to retire the car, I guess. I'm surprised that there's no safety car, because that would have wanted a safety car in real life if he lost his front wing and retired anyway. So it might just be a glitch his side on the game, or it might just be that he retired himself and the game just didn't register or something like that. So we'll never know what happens, but yeah, that was an intriguing way to retire, I must say.
Yeah, WR Verstappen continues his assault. He's got OMG, it's Joe just ahead of him still. He's very, very close to the back of him. Jason 97 F1 hanging behind, I think, just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen here. Jason's not typically a very aggressive type of driver, as Leopard and Mulder, the Red Bull and the Toro Rosso, are into the pits for their stop. So there are no longer any soft runners remaining on the circuit. OMG, it's Joe has now dived into the pits. That's going to allow Verstappen to be released. Oh, ouch. And he's retired. He's retired the car. So that is the end of the race for OMG, it's Joe. And, Verstappen, I think, just lost a big chunk of his front wing. And that's going to give Jason the opportunity to make the overtake on the climb up the hill. They've got LCR Mulder just ahead, who just came out of the pits as well. He's come out on a set of medium compound tires, but Jason makes the overtake on Verstappen. Again, Verstappen with that 3 seconds worth of time penalties. Pinecone is also on a brand new set of medium compound tires. And with that retirement from the Mercedes of Joe, we are down to just 12 runners, and we're only on lap 11. So yeah, it's very similar to last week, another race of attrition.
Yeah, Monaco is the hardest track on the calendar, probably Singapore as well, potentially, and any other street circuit, mainly because of how narrow it is and it's just so hard to overtake. So mainly if you go into the wall, it's either you're on the track or you're in the wall, and I think that's what most people suffered today. We see the broken front wings and a lot of repair bills for the teams today.
Yep, a lot of carbon fiber being strewn across the streets of Monte Carlo as Snazzy Evening becomes the next to pick up a 3-second time penalty. It's not been a great race so far for Snazzy Evening. Started outside the top 5, if I remember correctly. What was it?
I can't remember. Let me look.
Position change 7. No, actually, I'm sorry. I apologize. He started from 3rd position ahead of Martin. So yeah, it's been a pretty terrible race. He's already been into the pits, but he is down into 10th position at the moment. I'm actually having a look at LCR Mulder, who's looking up the inside at the Grand Hotel hairpin on CRG Morso. That was daring stuff, and I have to say, Morso playing that very well as well, making sure not to run into the Red Bull, so neither of them taking any damage as a result of that overtake, and that's always an impressive feat. If you can make an overtake in Monaco without either person losing any carbon fiber, then that is an achievement.
And I think most people would probably try to do it through the tunnel anyway, because I think that's probably one of the safest places to overtake, and you just probably get the speed in. But if you overtake somewhere else, then my oh mine, and that's just an achievement in itself. I don't know how these guys do it, so good on you, Mulder. I'm gutted I missed that now, because I think I just but that was, I think that would have been so good for Mulder, good confidence boost for him, and that would really help him for the rest of the race. So good on him.
More so, the only driver that has yet to be into the pits, Snazzy Evening. Oh, that's why Snazzy Evening is so far down. Snazzy Evening's been into the pits twice already. I apologize for missing out on that one. So as Pinecone now picks up the fastest lap of the race with a 1:10.6, he's down in 8th position at the moment with a pretty sizable gap to Jason 97 F1 up ahead. But remember, Pinecone starting from 13th position, so he's gained a number of positions in this race and seems to be going well, but it is still all about Surprise and Simon up at the front. Surprise has built a healthy gap down to the Renault behind him, and of course Simon with the 8 seconds worth of penalties that he's picked up as well too, which is enough to put him behind Martin, but not quite enough to put him behind Leopard. And of course, Leopard is going to be looking to gain as many positions in this race as he possibly can. Is the only person in the league at the moment that's applying really any sort of pressure on Veloce Surprise. Again, it's a 9-point gap between the two of them, and then it's a sizable gap of 37 points between Leopard and Morso. So yeah, it really is all about Surprise and Leopard when it comes to the championship standings, and 4th position is not ideal for the Red Bull driver. So he's going to be looking to mitigate that points loss as much as he possibly can, try to get himself into third position. But all he needs to do is, again, get within 8 seconds of Simon, not pick up any sort of penalties, and he will be losing just 10 points to Surprise. But of course, we're not even at halfway distance in this race. We've only just recently passed 1/3 distance, in fact, in this race. And at the moment, really the closest battle right now is between Mulder. As Verstappen has left the session. He's gone into the pits, and it looks like has retired. So we are down now to just 11 drivers in this race. Pretty soon, everybody's going to be a points finisher. But yeah, at the moment, it is looking like Mulder and Morso is the closest battle, with Mulder actually closing up to the back of the Renault.
Yeah, looking very racy between the Toro Rosso and the Renault at the moment. And just to pick up on penalties, that could decide if you're either going to get loads of points on this race or get a lower points position. So really, it does count. If you keep it clean and keep out the barriers and don't cut corners as much, you would get a much better result. But I think there's only a few people that haven't got any penalties. I think most people have got some penalties today. So I think it's just a question of who's going to get the less penalties, as Mulder's found more time on Morso in that last sector, which is really going to help him on his lap.
Much softer and fresher tires, 10-lap fresher tires actually, compared to the car ahead of him, and a step softer as well. So Mulder obviously feeling pretty confident in that Toro Rosso as he closes right up to the back of the Renault. And I don't know if Morso is really going to fight this all that much. He didn't fight it all that much when Leopard decided to come past, so I'm not sure if he's going to be I'm not sure he's going to be looking to lose too much time going side by side, because of course at a circuit this tight, you do at a circuit that's this tight, you do lose even more time, as Mulder shows him his front wing in his rearview mirror, but doesn't get close enough to actually get side by side into the Nouvelle chicane with CRG Morso. So Morso maintains that 5th place position. Again, he's the only driver that is yet to come into the pits so far in this race. So he's going to drop down a considerable way. I think probably down into 10th position as things stand right now. WR Verstappen, despite retiring, again, cars still driving around on the circuit. So he does appear ghosted on my screen. So I think the drivers will be able to just drive straight through him. So it's not that much of an inconvenience. I got to switch back over to Mulder. I just saw the gap was extremely close as they got into Saint-Devote, but no, he wasn't able to go side by side once again. So Morso, again, on these 15-lap-old hard compound tires, is managing to hold on to that 5th place position, but for how much longer?
How long can Morso keep Mulder behind, especially on those hard tires? Because Haas can make it to the end of this race, but again, he will have to pit for some fresher rubber, maybe on the mediums or the soft, to see how long he can get that for. And since Mulder has pitted quite recently as well, he doesn't want to get held up too much, because otherwise the likes of Jason 97 F1 and Pineco can catch up as well too. So Mulder just needs to get the move done quickly, but he's probably not going to take the gamble as much and try and possibly do it when there's a possible move to overtake, either at the tunnel or before turn 1, or potentially in the corners coming up here as well. So he just needs to make the move soon, because otherwise Jason 97 F1 and possibly especially Pineco could seize this opportunity to try and gain some more positions.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Martin also picking up a 3-second time penalty here. I don't think that was his first one, but yeah, 3-second time penalty being awarded to the Alfa Romeo of TRL Martin. As Mulder's going to look up the inside into Massenet. They're side by side again. Very respectful driving. A bit of a clunk of the barrier for Morso there. I don't think he's lost any of his front wing. Let me just see. No, yeah, he's still got everything intact. So a bit of argy-bargy between the two of them, but they come out the other side unscathed, and they're able to continue on. So Morso did fight that, but not too much. Jason 97 is the next car behind him. Again, Jason, one of those guys that made the very early stop onto a set of hard compound tires. They're 14 laps old at the moment, as Franglish becomes the next to pick up a 3-second time penalty. He's currently just outside of the points-paying positions in 11th, which is effectively last position because, of course, Verstappen has retired from this race. So Franglish can only go up in the world as it stands at the moment. So he'll be hoping for better things as this race progresses. Coming up to the halfway point of this race now, and it is actually going by fairly quickly, and it does look like it is going to be dry for the remainder of this race. I don't think we're going to be seeing any rain based on how things are looking at the moment. Jason 97 F1 is beginning to close up to Morso. Pinecone similarly is catching up to Jason 97 F1. So I think the battle for what is currently 6th position, but essentially a net 5th position. Well, no, yeah, it's a net 6th position. That is going to be tightening up pretty soon here. Mulder has extended that gap. It's now over 2 seconds down to more. So Jason getting within 2 seconds, and Pinecone actually really starting to close up on Jason now.
Yeah, Pinecone looking racy, and it's a question of when he's going to overtake him potentially on those fresher rubber tyres, and he's the one that holds his own. We have talked about him earlier on as well as being sort of a rising star. Oh, Frangwich is retired from the session. I think he'll set to 3, so we might go on board with Pinecone or any of the other drivers and see where he's retired. Possibly, I think, maybe through the swimming pool section, not sure, but if Pinecone can catch up to Jason, that will be a really, really good finish, as he's really starting to put up the pressure a little bit. But Jason can go on a bit longer into this race, so I think Jason will decide whether he would go into the pits based on the battle that he has with Pinecone.
I think you're right about that. Yeah, I wonder if Jason will try to go. If there is someone that can make the hard compound tires last that many laps, I would say Jason is one of those guys. He is very kind, as you mentioned earlier, very consistent sort of driver. So I think if there's anyone that can do it, he's definitely one of those guys. But Pinecone, absolutely rapid, very, very quick on those medium tires at the moment. He's closed right up to the back of Jason. Similarly, Jason right up to the back of Morso as well. So this three-way battle has really gotten closer. In fact, all three of them within about 1.2 seconds or thereabouts as they make their way through the Grand Hotel hairpin and down through Portier and into the tunnel now. So this is probably what we're going to be focusing on at the moment. Again, the gap's up at the front, pretty sizable. It's now actually 4.3 seconds between Surprise and Simon. So Simon is starting to close the gap to Surprise. So he seems to be quicker in recent laps compared to the Alfa Romeo ahead of him. So that battle may not be done and dusted on track. Again, with the 8 seconds worth of penalties, though, it seems very unlikely that Simon's going to be able to win the race after everything is said and done. But he might be keen to give us a little bit of a demonstration before he sees his way out of the Xbox platform.
Yeah, he wants to put on a show, really. Even if he has the penalty, he wants to have some fun. He's in the Renault Esports team for a reason, because he's very racy, and he just wants to show everyone what he means, and he means business, and he wants to put some good showing as well. And I do believe he did a race in the first esports event, so that'll be good practice for I wonder if the esports series is going to Monaco. I'm not entirely sure, but if it does, it'll be good practice for that. So I wonder if we can see some time gains from Simon a bit more going towards the clothing stages. I mean.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I actually don't know if Monaco is on the esports calendar. I'm not sure about that one, but yeah, we'll find out not too long. It's not too long, actually. What is it? October 2nd, I think it is, when the Pro Series comes back. So we're all anxiously awaiting that and looking forward to that, because, of course, we're all F1 game racing fans. You know, that's why we're here in Apex Online Racing. So that's why we get so excited about the F1 esports, as these guys, this trio of cars, Morso, Jason, Pinecone, come on to the start-finish straight. Is Jason going to have the speed? No, he's several car lengths back from the Renault as they get into Saint-Devote, so he's not close enough to make an overtake attempt. Same sort of situation for Pinecone, and actually Snazzy Evening is starting to close in on this. I've only just clocked that the Haas is starting to close up on this as well too. So it really does seem that more so, unsurprisingly, on those 20-lap-old hard compound tires is rather the cork in the champagne bottle, as people like to say, and that is allowing Snazzy Evening now to close up on this. And then it's only another 4 seconds or so down to P1R Brown. Oh my gosh, Snazzy Evening nearly making contact with the back of the Mercedes of Pinecone through the Grand Hotel hairpin there. So yeah, clearly he is closed right up to the back of this, which I think really shows the pace struggle that Morso is having at the moment. And indeed, Snazzy Evening did drive straight through Verstappen, so he's not just ghosted on our screens, he's ghosted for the drivers as well too. So despite his car being out there, he's not actually going to be hindering anybody. And P1R Brown is bringing that gap down. It was 4-point-something seconds not that long ago. He's already got it down to less than 3.8 seconds, actually. So this could very quickly turn into a 5-way battle.
This is what we like to see in Monaco, people racing to the limit, and 5 cars into one corner, that may not go well, but if anyone can do it, the top guys from the Xbox One can. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the last laps go to see if these guys could somehow try and gain a position. As Snazzy Evening is so close to Pinecone this lap. He's trying all his best. He's going to take the right-hand side. Oh, they touch just about. Is he got damage? No, he hasn't, as they go through Millbell now. But wow, that was close to ending in disaster for Snazzy Evening. Luckily he avoided too much contact. Luckily he's able to keep going.
Yeah, both of those guys able to escape any sort of damage or anything like that. So again, impressive driving. I'm always impressed by the Xbox guys in this top tier of the Apex Online Racing Hype Energy League. But P1R Brown continues to close in. He's got that gap down now to less than 2.2 seconds, less than 2 seconds as he makes his way through the Nouvelle Chicane. Snazzy Evening, again, climbing all over the back of Pinecone. He really does seem to be the quickest driver out of everybody in this group, despite having the oldest medium compound tires out of everybody in this group. So Snazzy Evening, oh, and there goes Morso. He's finally had enough of those hard compound tires. He's into the pits at the end of lap 22. He's going to be looking to do a 17-lap stint on whatever compound of tires he's going to be fitting. And,
medium.
Okay, yeah, it is indeed the medium compound tires that he's going on to. He is going to lose a lot of time. He's going to drop well back. But of course, with Jason leading this group now, and Pinecone and Snazzy Evening and P1R Brown all right close behind him, it is a good opportunity for Morso. He could certainly close back up to these guys, especially if they continue battling through the tight and twisty corners of this Monte Carlo street circuit. So I would say Morso is definitely on for potential more gains later on in this race, but at the moment he's now 15 seconds behind P1R Brown. But with brand new medium compound tires, I'm expecting a purple lap time, probably on lap 25. Yes, lap 25, because Velace Surprise is just now starting lap 24. So, yeah, or I guess it would actually be lap 24 for Morso. But as Snazzy Evening, he's made the overtake into Tabac, of all places, the highest speed corner on the circuit, or one of the highest speed corners. Actually, the tunnel is higher speed. But he's done it. He's made the overtake on Pinecone. I have to say, this is probably the most impressive drive we've seen from Snazzy Evening so far. It hasn't been again, he didn't have the greatest of starts. He's been into the pits already. But to make an overtake at a corner like Tabac, that really shows impressive stuff from the Haas driver. So he's finally showing us why he's in the F1 esports and making a bit more of a name for himself in Apex Online Racing. And Pinecone has actually dropped back. Does he have any sort of damage? I think he does. I think he's missing an end plate, if my eyes don't deceive me there.
I think what happened was when he went to the tunnel section, he may have had a bit of contact there, and he was forced to cut the corner there, which was probably why he lost position to Snazzy Evening, which was ongoing on board there. So that was why Pinecone was losing a lot of time, and he's already losing the time to P1R Brown as well.
Yeah, he's actually lost both end plates. I had a great look at that. Oh, as we've lost Franglish. No, he was already gone.
Anyway.
Yeah. He's just left the session. He was having a bit of a spectate on as Pinecone does his best to navigate the swimming pool section with the both end plates missing from his front wing, and P1R Brown is probably going to be relatively aware of that. Certainly, he's going to notice the way that Pinecone has dropped off the back of Snazzy Evening up ahead. It's now 1.8 seconds. Snazzy Evening coming very close to the back of Jason 97 F1. He's not going to be close enough in San Devote to make an overtake. Let's go back over to P1R Brown. No, he's also not close enough in San Devote to make an overtake on Pinecone, but Pinecone is really going to be struggling, missing all of that front downforce as P1R Brown looks to the outside, possibly through Massenet. Inside line for Casino, can't quite get alongside. Pinecone goes a bit wide. It grazes the barrier. He wouldn't have picked up any more damage there. You can't lose another end plate. He's already missing 2 out of the 2 that he started with. So, but P1R Brown is definitely going to be keen to try and make the overtake on the Mercedes here. And I have to say, I'm actually a bit surprised to see Pinecone not come into the pits. He's in 8th position at the moment. And if he were to come into the pits, he would actually only drop down into 10th position because, of course, there's only 10 cars still remaining in this race. So I'm a little bit surprised that Pinecone hasn't gone in and maybe fit a set of soft compound tires and maybe just try to push on from there. But Snazzy Evening is maybe the one we need to be watching now because he's very, very close to the back of that McLaren, and he is looking very quick. Again, 6-lap younger tires compared to Jason 97 F1 and a step softer as well. He could be looking to make the overtake into San Devote here. He hasn't had the best of exits coming out of the final corner, though, so I don't think he's quite going to be alongside Jason. And again, Jason, just one of the most consistent drivers out there. If Snazzy Evening is waiting for Jason to make a mistake, he's going to be waiting for a while.
Yeah, I think I was in a similar situation actually, whereas I was Jason's car in front, and then there was the Williams right behind as well, and I was stuck behind for about 9 laps. So it just goes to show that if Jason keeps up his defensive work, then he's going to keep Pinecone behind, not Pinecone, Snazzy Evening behind for a very, very long time, and we know how good Jason is at Monaco. So. I'm looking forward to this, but Snazzy Evening is still on the mediums anyway. It will be interesting to see if Snazzy Evening can get past Jason in this difficult circuit, because he made his way past Pinecone and P1R Brown, but I think he could potentially go past Jason, but he's starting to drop back a little bit though.
Yep, he sure is. Excuse me, at the moment. So, but he is still pretty close. We'll keep monitoring that. The gaps are pretty similar, actually, between Jason and Snazzy and Pinecone and P1R Brown as Pinecone continues to drop back. It's now almost 3 seconds, actually, between himself and Snazzy Evening. So he's definitely losing heaps of time, at least a second per lap. And there's another penalty for Simon at this point. I don't think he really cares. Yeah, 11 seconds, 11, I think. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, 11 seconds worth of penalties now for the Renault at the moment, as they are nearly bookending, actually, the cars at the moment, with Simon in second, more so in 10th. Ooh, up the inside for Snazzy Evening. Ooh. Into yep. And he's picked up a penalty there, actually, from trying to go side by side with Jason into the Grand Hotel hairpin. I would say that's a bit harsh, actually, that 3-second time penalty. That's about the only line you can take if you want to try to make the overtake at that hairpin. So I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. He's going to look to the inside. Jason positioning very well, but he goes very deep into the chicane. If Snazzy can get a good enough exit here, he could be side by side into back. But no, Jason maintains the position for right now. But certainly that would have been a warning for Jason. I'm not sure how many he would have picked up. Oh, that's brave stuff for Snazzy Evening. He's looking into the inside of the chicane after the swimming pool section. That's brave stuff from the Haas driver. He's again really piling the pressure onto Jason here, who is going to be on now 25 lap old hard compound tires. We're actually really up the inside into Sandevote. The Haas has finally done it. Jason concedes the position. Nothing else he could do. Clearly, Snazzy Evening, just a faster car at that point. It doesn't look like Jason has any front wing damage as far as I can tell. So, yeah, I think that's entirely down to the tire life there. Oh, and P1R Brown has also managed to make the overtake. Looks like around the outside of Massenet.
Yeah, so what a move from Snazzy Evening into the lap there. Absolutely incredible stuff from there. And I think he's going to do all he can now to keep that position from Jason 97 F1, or already he's dropping back. And I think Pinecone could potentially drop back from P1R Brown. Yes, he does, due to the loss of end plate as well. But talking about Pinecone, actually, maybe he's waiting for the right opportunity to pit, so he could get that faster lap point, because Verstappen's disconnected. Any one of the top 10 will get fastest lap no matter where they are. So maybe Pinecone wants that extra point regardless. So he's 9th at the moment. So if he went onto the soft now, he's not gonna lose that chunk of points anyway.
Oh, and there he goes.
There we
He's
go.
into the pits. Yep.
Read my mind.
And he does indeed go on to a set of the soft compound tires. That's at the end of lap 28, so that'll be an 11-lap stint. He does get a front wing change, of course, as well. That allows Morso to move himself up into 9th position. It's now less than 5 seconds between Morso and P1R Brown, so he's making good use of those medium compound tires on the Renault, unsurprisingly going very, very quickly. P1R Brown now has a 2.2 seconds gap to Jason 97 F1, of course, losing time while he was stuck behind Pinecone, but he's now been unleashed with 8-lap fresher tires compared to Jason, as Pinecone now picks up a 3-second time penalty. I think that would have been at the pit exit. Yes, it would have been at the pit exit. And actually, he's been lapped by both Surprise and Simon. So Pinecone is actually a lap down. That is not ideal. So he's come out of the pits on the set of soft compound tires, but he's got Simon ahead, and it's very difficult to unlap yourself at a circuit like Monaco. Now, he does have the benefit of Simon up ahead, who probably doesn't care that much today. So if Pinecone does try to unlap himself, I don't think Simon is going to be all that bothered about it, because, again, Simon really just seems to be out there to have a good time. He knows it's his last race on the Xbox platform, so I don't think he'll be that upset if Pinecone does manage to unlap himself as Snazzy Evening is into the pits as well. So the Haas car feeling the need to come into the pits. Yep, he's going to change his front wing. He's also going to go onto a set of the soft compound tires. So it looks like we might have a little bit of a battle at the end of this race between Snazzy Evening and Pinecone for the fastest lap. So that'll be interesting to see as those two guys look to do what is essentially qualifying laps. And similar to Pinecone, Snazzy Evening has come out a lap down. And that is one of the Alfa Romeos. Is it Martin? No, it's Surprise actually. But he's gotten ahead. Yep, he's gotten ahead. So Snazzy Evening has managed to clear Surprise. I think Surprise kind of just let him go as they were side by side. But yeah, Surprise let Snazzy Evening go through, and yeah, now he can. So I would say Snazzy Evening is probably with the best chance of getting that fastest lap because again, what is it? Pinecone has the car ahead. Yeah, he has the car ahead of Simon, which is, again, not ideal for trying to set a fastest lap.
Nope, it's not. When you want to set the fastest lap around Monaco, you really want clean air, and Pineco is not going to get that much clean air because obviously he has the Alfa Romeos ahead and also the Renaults as well. So it's going to be tough for him, but yeah, I agree. Snazzy Evening is going to benefit from unlapping himself and Veloce Surprise, and already starting to pull away. So, and surely he's going to set the fastest lap pretty soon. Maybe not yet. Maybe he's just waiting for the right moment.
Leopard actually has gotten within 2 seconds on TRL Martin. Now, keep in mind, Martin has 1 or 2 penalties, either 3 or 6 seconds worth of penalties. I don't remember exactly. More so has also closed up to the back of P1R Brown with those 8-lap old medium compound tires. So I would say it's only a matter of time, really, before the Renault of CRG Morso manages to make the overtake on P1R Brown. Brown, after being released by Pinecone coming into the pits, hasn't actually made a ton of progress onto the back of Jason 97 F1. He closed up a little bit, about a second or two on the back of that McLaren, but that gap has started to stabilize now, just over 2 seconds between the McLaren and the Williams, but more so now really on a charge. Oh, that's a bit of a lockup for P1R Brown. That's going to give the inside line into the final corner for Morso, and he does move himself up into 7th position. So, yeah, I did say that Morso was probably not done, and he was going to be making overtakes in this race, and he's already doing that. And now he's got less than 3 seconds between himself and Jason, and then another 15 seconds up the road to Mulder. So I'd say probably 6th position, really, aside from any crazy, as Snazzy Evening does indeed pick up the fastest lap, so we called that one. But yeah, probably 6th position is the best that Morso is going to be able to do, but he will continue his run of point scoring streaks. And in fact, 6th position is the lowest that Morso has finished all season. So he is going to continue that trend as well. Yeah, exactly right. So he's going to be continuing that trend of finishing in 6th or higher at every single race after 6 rounds.
Yes, which is another consistent driver this season, just like Jason 97 F1, so maybe that's what Morso is turning to, and I have commentated on him before, and I've known him to be Mr. Consistent, just like Jason, so he is hoping for very good results, and he's also another person in competing for the Challenger Series as well, and he's doing very well in the Challenger Series too as well, competing to be in F1 esports as well, so he's looking really good in Monaco, and that's going to set him in good stead in the races to come too. So very good job from Morso today, and he's already catching up to Jason already. So he means business in the last 6 laps of this race.
This is getting very tasty, actually. Snazzy Evening has had an argument with the wall at the final corner, and he has lost a position and a bit of his front end plate as well. I think it's only 1 end plate. It is indeed on the left side that the Haas has lost his end plate, so that's not ideal for Snazzy Evening. That's going to drop him down into 10th position, and I'd say that's his attempts at getting a fastest lap are done and dusted. So Pinecone will probably be the one that's going to pick that up, as he's the only other car on the soft compound tires at the moment. And he also has all of his front wing, if I'm not mistaken. Indeed, he does have all of his front wing. However, also I've noticed CRG Simon has begun to close in on the back of Veloce Surprise. I'm not sure. Maybe Surprise is just allowing him to catch up. Maybe he wants to have a little bit of a battle with Simon before he heads off to the PC side. But also Leopard, almost within that crucial 1 second gap between himself and Martin, so he's going to be looking to close up that. So we've got Simon closing in on Surprise, Leopard's closing in on Martin, Snazzy Evening's picked up a 3-second time penalty, another one, and then we've also got Morso closing up on Jason. P1R Brown is dropping back off of Morso, so Nothing. I don't think anything's going to be happening with P1R Brown. He'll probably maintain that 8th place position. But we have a few battles that are just kind of starting to develop now. One for the lead of the race on track anyway, when you don't factor in the penalties, and one for 3rd position. Martin again with some penalties. So I'm not sure Leopard really needs to make the overtake on track, but I'm sure he would be keen to no matter what. And then again, more so now starting to close up to the back of Jason with the 20-lap fresher tires. We did say Jason was kind on his tires, but it's impressive nonetheless the way he's going.
Yeah, very impressive there. If I was on those hard tires, I'm almost certain would have a punch because the walls are deadly around here. If you have one touch of the wall on those 31 old lap hards, that will probably end in disaster. But Jason is known for being very clean, so he is almost certain going to make it to the end on those tyres, but more so has found some time on in 7 tenths separated between himself and Jason i7F1. So Jason, will he want to go into the pits and change the fastest lap, or would he want to battle more so? I think he want to battle more so to see if he could keep 6th position, which he should do, despite the fact that it is a narrow track. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Exactly right. Unfortunately, it's all kicking off at the same time, so we have to struggle to decide if we want to have a look at the battle for 6th, or the battle for 1st, or the battle for 3rd, because, yeah, everybody is closed up right at the tail stage of this Monaco Grand Prix, 6th round of the Apex Online Racing Hype Energy F1 League. More so definitely seems to be the one that is most likely to make the overtake at the moment, though, as he's closed right up to the back of Jason. Again, significantly fresher tires, 1 step softer rubber as well, too. Again, more so just making good use of an alternate strategy. It's not the first time we've seen him do it this season. It probably won't be the last time we'll see him do it either. And I do enjoy a driver that likes to go for an alternate strategy, starts from outside the top 10, makes up those positions. Consistency, clean racing, keeping his nose clean as well, not losing any end plates or anything like that, as he slices his way through the swimming pool section right onto the back of Jason. A bit of a lockup there for the McLaren as they make their way through. Rascassi wants a good exit through the final couple of corners there. It doesn't look like he's quite got that. Actually, a really good exit for Jason 97F1 as he comes onto the start-finish straight. We'll see him maintain that position as they start lap 36 out of 39. And Leopard's done it! I've just missed that. Leopard has made the overtake on TRL Martin into the Nouvelle chicane. The gap was about 1 second. I have to say I'm a bit surprised by that one. I was monitoring that battle for 6th position more so because, again, I really just it really looked like that more so was was closer to making that overtake. And it's not like Martin has any sort of damage or anything like that on his front wing. So I thought that battle between Leopard and Martin was a little bit less imminent compared to the battle between Morso and Jason 97F1. But as I said earlier, Leopard wants to make the move on track. He's made the move on track. He's up into 3rd position, and it looks like he's going to continue his run of finishing every single race so far this season on the podium.
Yes, and that will be very, very impressive, especially if you go to keep this up towards the end of this season. And we've seen a few of the championship contenders in the past do DNF as well. So if he keeps it consistent, he's going to put in very good stead. And Morso's found even more time in that final set. So I think it's a question of not if, I think it's a question of when he's going to get past Jason 97F1. Because surely Jason's going to find it very difficult to try and defend that. But Jason is doing so well, though. He's doing absolutely incredible to get past him. Just look at the commitment to how he defended that. That was impressive, Jason.
Incredible stuff. The way he's positioning his car is inch perfect. He's got the inside line for this right-hander. He's still alongside, but again, that is his corner. I would say more so didn't quite have that. So I'd say that's hard but fair between those two. Jason maintains the position. He knows this is crucial. He's not on the penultimate lap, I don't think. Yeah, Veloci Surprise has started the penultimate lap. But again, because of the size of the gaps that we have at the moment, this battle is actually on lap 37. And they're not a lap down, so they are going to be doing the full 39 laps. They're not going to be seeing the checkered flag at the end of lap 38. So Jason needs to keep this up for 2 and a bit more laps. And Morso is, again, very, very close to the back of that McLaren as they make their way through the swimming pool section on the run down towards Rascas. A bit of touch of the barrier at the outside of the at the exit of the corner for CRG Morso. And this is where Jason has been mighty, has been through the final corner. He keeps getting the exit that he needs on the run down towards Saint-Devote. He does manage to maintain the position once again as they start the penultimate lap of this race. again, I have to say, I'm very, very impressed with the way Jason is defending this. He's putting his car just sort of in the middle of the circuit, which, you know, it's nearly impossible to go alongside when you take that kind of line. Despite the softer tires, the fresher tires, it's not going to be enough for Morso. He's going to have to hope for a mistake, or he's going to have to force a mistake from Jason 97 F1 if he wants to try and take that 6th place position. I don't think either of these guys has any penalties, which in itself is a significant achievement, I should really say. And again, look at that, through the tunnel, Jason just builds that gap. He gets the exit that he needs out of Portier, and he maintains the position once again.
Great stuff for Jason, and also good job from Morso as well, trying to attack onto Jason 97 F1 as well. So we'll see what happens in the final lap. We're on the final lap now, but they both have one more lap to try and get Morso to try and get this move done. But I think I can see Jason really holding on to P6 after what I've seen. His defensive skills will be like. I think Morso is going to become a little bit too further short, but we have seen surprises in Apex Online Racing, and this could be the start of this one. But yeah, Jason, I think P6 will still come to him, and Simon is really closing up to Veloce Surprise, but I think it's too little too late. Yes, it is. As Veloce Surprise comes across the line, and he weaves across the line. Yes, he does, and he wins the Monaco Grand Prix, and Simon takes P2 on his last outing in AOR Xbox One tier when he moves to the PC. Is he going to stay there? Leper comes across the line. Yes, he does. 79,000! Wow! That, I wasn't expecting that. That just goes to show how many penalties Simon's got this race. If he got another one, Leper would have got P2, but P2 for Simon on his last race in Xbox One. Good result for him.
Let's see now if Morso can take that 6th place possession off of Jason. There's really no overtaking locations remaining in this race. He didn't make it work into the Nouvelle Chicane. He can maybe try something into Rascasse here. But again, Jason knows exactly how to position his car. He's one of the most experienced drivers on the grid. And he really just knows exactly what to do. They are going to be very, very close. DRS and Slipstream for CRG Morso. They're going to be side by side as they cross the line. It's actually an even smaller gap between the two of them than it was for Simon and Leopard. Unbelievable finish, though. But Jason manages to maintain that 6th place position. Incredibly close. Wow, actually, my hair on my arms is standing up from that one. That was an incredible finish from those guys. Morso gave it everything at the end there, but Jason deservedly takes that 6th place position in the race. We only had 10 finishers after 17 started here in Monaco, but what a finish it was. Surprise does claim his 5th victory of the season. CRG Simon finishes on the podium in his final race for the AOR Xbox One F1 League. And there you can see the character very excited. Alfa Romeo, Renault, and Red Bull all on the podium today in Monaco, and you can see they're just absolutely thrilled about it. Fantastic race, I have to say. Wow, I'm really, really happy with that. Monaco isn't always the best from a spectator's point of view. You know, it's easy to understand why the drivers might like a circuit like this, where it's, you know, it's just so much about wrestling the car and flirting with the barriers, and it's all about the danger of, you know, you're millimeters away from losing that front wing, and you know, the drivers love that. From a spectator standpoint, Monaco isn't always the best, but that was about as good as you can hope for in Monaco.
Yeah, I pretty much enjoyed that, and if I was to give driver of the day, it's very tough. I'll have to go to Jason. I'll have to give it to Jason after that.
Same.
Yeah. Him defending like that in turn 3 and 4, it's just priceless, and he kept going right towards the bitter end. That just goes to show why he still deserves to be in Xbox One F1. And as you can see, here are the standings. He started in 6th and remained 6th as well, so good finish. Morso started 14th, finished 7th as well, and Mulder's gained 5 positions as well, so massive gainers there. And yeah, well done Surprise, his 5th win from 6 races, and he's definitely one of the favourites for the championship. Leopard really needs to pull off all the stops here if he wants to get catching up to Veloce Surprise now.
Exactly right. He's going to lose another 10 points. So let's see, it was 9. So he's going to be 19 points behind Veloce Surprise after that race. I have to say Mulder as well, though, a very solid result for him out there today. He's currently 11th in the standings. His best result was in Spain last time out in 6th position. So that 5th place finish for him in Monaco becomes his only top 5 finish of the season, and his best result in season 18 as well too. So solid result there for Mulder today. I think he could be really happy with that finish. But again, I have to agree with you on that one. Probably driver of the day for me is Jason 97 F1. People are very aware as well that Jason is one of my favorite type. I mean, he's just my favorite kind of driver, which is not necessarily good on the 1 lap pace. He's a bit of an underdog. He's not consistently on the podium, but he's often threatening the podium kind of thing, which is what I really enjoy. I like seeing somebody drive better than they typically do, and that's usually what you get from Jason. You either get him in the points, and every once in a while you get him on the podium, and it's so much fun when it does happen. So not the best day out there for Pinecone. Unfortunately, he's not going to continue his run of finishing on the podium after every single race, but he does manage to at least make it to the end, which is more than 7 of the drivers could say today.
Yes, we see some consistent finishes and some non-consistent finishes as well. So the guys that did not finish will have a uphill battle for the next race, which is Canada. It is another street circuit, but it's less narrow and a bit more fun as well, and an interesting strategy core as well. And all the tiers will be racing next week, so I'm sure, I'm sure it'll be a fantastic race. And also, Andy, I believe, will be back as well, as he was in Singapore this week watching the Singapore Grand Prix. Lucky him. I hope he's had a good time. I'm not jealous at all. As it's very hot around there, but he will be back next week joining you, and it's been a pleasure joining you just for this week, and a great race to join you on, I guess.
Oh, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining me, because it would have been difficult out there trying to cover all of that action on my own. So yeah, I very much appreciate it. I think you did a fantastic job as well too. So thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate that. And yeah, as Jess said, next week is going to be the Canadian Grand Prix, the 7th round of season 18 of Apex Online Racing Hype Energy F1 League on the Xbox platform. And as far as I know, yes, Andy will be back, unless he's had a few too many drinks in Singapore, which is always possible. Who knows? But yeah, and I believe all of the drivers will be back next week as well, except for Simon. I don't think I've got to head off just because we've got a guy coming to look at the house today. But I did want to say, of course, as well, best of luck to Simon in his pursuit of the PC championship. Great to see him moving up in the world. I'm ecstatic to see him on the Renault F1 team. So I'm thrilled about him. I'm sad to see him go. He's a solid, very, very strong competitor. He is a very quick guy as well. And yeah, really sad to see him go, but excited for his future and what can happen for him. So I just wanted to say that about Simon. But I think that will do it for today's broadcast. Thanks everybody for tuning in. It was supposed to be a break week, but we hopefully put on a good show for you guys. And we'll see you next time for the Canadian Grand Prix. And again, thank you so much for joining me, Jess. I really did appreciate it.